Carol and Lisa are here as our honored guests to pay tribute to Ilan. And Noah is going to be seeing this on video that David is taking right now. There's really no greater supporter of lifelong learning and adult education here at TBR than Ilan was. And so it was just behooved us to really acknowledge that at this first meeting. First of all, he was an avid reader. No one could figure out how he found time to read, but it was amazing. He always, and if it wasn't sure of the book, he emailed Diane and I and said, "What's that book again?" You know, he wasn't going to miss any of the reading circle experiences, and he taught us so much, especially about Israeli authors. Amos Oz, if you haven't read him, make a point to do so. It was Ilan who brought him to the book club and really helped us have some really meaningful discussions. One of our fondest memories, those of us in the reader circle, was when Ilan and Arthur both came to the meetings. Ilan always told Arthur what the books were, and he always read them, and then when the opportunity was available, Arthur would come too, and you can imagine what a meaningful experience it is with both of their experiences about Israel. So that alone was a gift to all of us. Okay, Ilan rarely missed a distinguished speaker program. He was usually running in from someplace, maybe tennis or whatever, and definitely running out to some Jewish event or something else that he had during the day, but he always made it a point to come here. He always had provocative questions. He was really, he always gave me some ideas of who might come to speak. So he was really committed to this program. And he always had a schmear, never with any fish, right, Carol? But he did have his bagel and schmear. And of course, Ilan's greatest contribution to adult education here is his adult B'nai Mitzvah classes. Okay, we did a little tallying, Mark and Judy and I, and apparently he was responsible for 14 classes of adult B'nai Mitzvah.
I want to correct that.
Okay,
It
good.
should be 15 because we currently have a class that is the largest of all classes ever because they wanted to be learning from Ilan before his retirement. And with, of course, his tragic passing, I became a substitute teacher, but it's still Ilan's class. So I'm a substitute teacher, so he will have 16 classes.
So you read my script.
Oh, sorry.
So in fact, no, I'm really glad that Benny spoke. So there were 14, and we counted, and there were close to 100 adults who went through that program. And when we went through the list, it's just remarkable. I'm just curious. Those who went through the program, are you here today? Yes. Okay, and if you look around, almost every one of those who participated became leaders or made some major contributions to our synagogue. So we're really indebted to Ilan for that. And also, as Benny says, we now have a class. They took the class because they really expected this to be the last class that Ilan would teach on his retirement. And so now they take it in honor of him, and they're working just as hard as well. So that's just a little part of why we are so committed to honoring and doing this tribute to Ilan. So the question was, who? So I have to again thank some people. Ron Rosenzweig suggested Zalem Mlotek. Gail Bindelglass said, "I'll make the first contact. I know him." So we really worked really hard with all our options because we know that Ilan was so committed to the Yiddish theater and took various people here on trips. And of course, when I reached out to Zalman, he was more than gracious. He's on his way down to the show, so he's going to have to leave early, but he made it a point to come here early this morning to pay this tribute to his friend and after speaking to Zalman, a very respected colleague that he thought of Ilan. So that's what I have to say, and I'm going to pass the mic on to Sharon Rubin, who is going to introduce our speaker.
Thank you. The first time that Ilan asked us to come to the Yiddish theater, he explained, you know, there are super titles. You don't need to understand Yiddish to enjoy it. And David and I actually know a little Yiddish. My hubby always spoke to me in Yiddish, although I answered her in English. And so I said, how bad can it be? You know, the tickets weren't all that expensive. We schlepped down there. At that time, I think they were, I don't remember where you were, not where we are now. And I said, you know, it's sort of sentimental for me. I'll hear Yiddish, it'll be okay. Well, I was blown away. The acting was incredible. The singing was wonderful. There was dancing. The scenery was professional. I could not get over it. So I like to say, I came for the Yiddish and I stayed for the excellence. And after that, every time Ilan said, you want to go to the Yiddish theater? If we were going to be in town, we always went. And I think, until recently, The Golden Bride was my favorite. But I got to see Fiddler on the Roof this summer with Ilan. And it is an unimaginably good show. And it's been extended several times. It's going to be till the end of December. And if you have a chance to get a ticket, which I'm not sure there are any left, but if you have a chance to get a ticket, please go. I know I talked about it so much that my sister and 6 friends from Wilmington, Delaware hired a van to come so that they could go see this wonderful production. Now, who is the mastermind of this? Zalem Mlotek has been the artistic director and conductor of the National Yiddish Theater Fund for the last 20 years. Yeah, at one point in New York, there were 15 Yiddish theaters, and now there is one, and thank heavens there is one. And somehow, Zalem takes good actors, many of whom are not Jewish, somehow he teaches them Yiddish so they can act just as well in Yiddish. He teaches them to sing Yiddish so that they can sing just as well in Yiddish. And for all I know, he does the choreography too. I'm not sure. But in any case, magic happens on that stage. And he is the reason the magic happens. His training was at the Juilliard. He has done many productions that have been honored in one way or another. You can read about them in your program and in the information you've been given. So without further ado, it's my honor to introduce Zalem Mlotek.
Good morning, everybody. It's, as was said, it's a very special honor for me to pay tribute to Ilan, who, as you heard, was a champion of Yiddish music and the Yiddish theater for so many years. I remember seeing him this summer when he came and brought a group, but I was always so impressed that he was one of the first people always to respond to bring a group to see our shows. So in preparing, this morning's talk about the Yiddish theater, I wanted to also include music that I knew that Ilan loved and performed. And you'll hear this next, the very first melody is a song that he sang, but I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of a different twist. The talk this morning for the next 40 or so minutes, whatever it is, and we'll have questions, will be about the Yiddish theater and how I came to devote my life to it and my life's work, and why I'm still thrilled every day as I see new audiences come and be touched by theater in Yiddish. In the shtetl playing Freilich was a klezmer elevator. And one day he thought he'd organize a band. He was a man of great renown, till they burned his little town, and he went and sailed off to the Golden Land. He got to Ellis Island, and a drummer from the Highland, and a fiddler from the little town of Gander. He met a Swede and met a Turk, formed a band, and went to work. From Elimelech, he became Alexander. I hasn't seen to Alexander mit seinem Point. I hasn't seen, as I'm point isn't it Kachon. Now the Machlein Freilich is a Freiliche Kapelle. It's a Freiliche Kapelle auf dem Point Rebelle gesetzt. Ist der erste Knacker, halt den ganzen Land in der Heim, gegangen ist Nackenkuh. Right is Sie sind Häusen Spur, der Moral ist mehr Respekt für alle. Alexander, tanzen Sie zu Alexanders Ragtime. Es geworden sehr freilich, Old King Cole was very happy. But the voice getarnt its film, he took off his film, und hat angetarnt den Brill, he put on his glasses, und geschickt noch die Fiddler die zwei. Und als die Fiedeldicke Fiddlers haben Fiedeldicke Fiddler, haben sie, und als die Fiedeldicke Fiddlers. Anyway, this song, a folk song, was the music, of course, was over in Berlin, Alexander's Ragtime Band. The words were written by Molly Picon. Somebody came over to me and asked me if I remember Molly Picon, and I actually had the honor of playing for Molly Picon in her later years. She worked for WEVD, the station that speaks your language. Many of you are familiar with that. WVD, I'll speak about that a little bit later, and she created the words for that song. The Yiddish theater in America is a subject for a mini-series on television waiting to happen. It hasn't happened yet. Someday perhaps somebody will. The years of creativity, the effects of the shows, of the actors, of millions of immigrants to this country, and to subsequent American culture has yet to be documented. Yiddish theater in America wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. People would come in droves to Yiddish theater after a hard day's work. But it was the first time klezmer music, as we know it today, was first heard on the stage. Klezmer music being the instrumental Yiddish music. My purpose in today's talk is to give you a versuch, a taste of this world and how it turned me on, got me excited some years ago when I decided to bring this music and theater to audiences. Yiddish theater on the Lower East Side at the turn of the last century was something that sweatshop workers came in droves. For a sewing machine girl, a theater ticket or two meant half a week's wages. But if she was careful and she managed to buy the tickets, she could still scrimp out just enough to eat. It wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. People would come together, see their Landsleute from other cities. That's where the idea of group sales came into being at the Yiddish theater when Landsmannschaften would come together and see each other at the first time at the Yiddish theater. They say that the Yiddish theater, more than a synagogue, was a place for Jews to come together. The Yiddish theater had everything from Molière to Shakespeare to melodramas, to popular shows titles like Sein Weib's Lubavnik, or Berle Tramp. Or it was in the Yiddish theater that many people became familiar with the great classics, as in this scene from Hamlet, Suzanne oder nicht Suzanne, oder dort in one performance, the audience was so thrilled with the performance of Hamlet that they wouldn't leave until their screams of author wouldn't be produced. But before we go any further, let me introduce you to some of the early music, the music that stimulated the creation of the Yiddish theater. Yiddish theater really goes back to the Purim plays that were created. And, but the origins of the Yiddish theater, as we know, were in the wine cellars of Romania, where itinerant musicians would come together and sing of their joys in Yiddish. And here's an old Romanian Yiddish drinking song from circa 1850 or so. It says, the words are very simple, just pour the mashke in, pour the liquor in. We shouldn't stop drinking, we should just enjoy it. But listen to the music, you'll enjoy the Viennese influence. Brüder, gießt da rein, ein Häuschen, Flasche Wein. Von warm zum Süßen soll ich euch beim Gießen, eu Brüder, gießt da rein. Brüder, gießt da rein, mit Wein, soll warmen und gießen, soll nicht helfen gießen, aber wieder gießt da rein. It turns out that Avram Goldfaden, who was called the father of the Yiddish theater, would come to these wine cellars, and he would get up and speak and declaim Yiddish poetry. And here's one song that he created. Remember, this was from the Skillisher movement, the movement that poked fun of the Hasidim, and this was the anti-Hasidic movement on the Yiddishist spectrum. So here is Goldfaden writing from that perspective with tongue-in-cheek. He says, I thank you, dear God, for all your wonders. You've made weddings for my children, so come dance with me. You take the daughter-in-law, I'll take the in-law, you take the daughter-in-law. Everybody knows that my children are froh. Dank dir, Gott in du liebharzige Getreie, für alle meine Wunder. Ich hab Hassene gemacht mit meinem Weib, alle meine Kinder. Auch mein Weib tanzt mit mir, die dem Eder nicht schmier. Alle weißen mit ihm, als meine Kinder senden fremd. Alle weißen mit ihm, als meine Kinder senden fremd. Die Abikosim, also auch im Mesisei, sie werden sie den Hauptbeul haben, the non-believers, woe to them, will they ever know of an afterlife? Also Maya Putshenya is Bazei, good the Sheksta Borachabe, that Maya Putshenya, hello, how do you do, is the nicest way to say, hey, how are you doing? Bazei is this episode, adieu, bonjour, by uns is this Gottel can get bon with you. So they say, formally, adieu, bonjour, we say, Stotzelkum, was Herzlich. Alle weißen mit ihm, als meine Kinder senden fremd, wenn sie eingefahren, von der Tante Süße. Alle weißen mit ihm, als meine Kinder senden fremd. Another song from this era is, Komm mal her, du Philosoph, come here, you philosopher, mit deinem kätzischen Meuchel, with your wisdom of a cat. Komm mal her zum Rebstisch, come to the rabbi's dish. Best will have not seichel. You'll learn how to think. Adam Schiff hast du ausgetracht, you thought of a steamship. Meinst du bist nach Horetz, and you think you're such a wise man. Der Rebbe schreit sein Tiergeläus, the rabbi takes his handkerchief, und spannt der Yam and walks on the handkerchief. Hi, bye, 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 hi, hi, bye, 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 hi, bye, 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 bye. So this is the setting for Avram Goldfaden, who then saw that the public and the audiences really wanted to hear stories. And they really wanted to hear musicalized stories. This was, of course, the time of Verdi and Puccini. So the rest of the world was seeing operas, and there were no Yiddish operas at the time. So Goldfaden, with the help of others, decided to take some of those biblical themes, like Akedas Yitzchak, the sacrifice of Isaac, and Bar Kochba, the hero of the Second Temple, and made Yiddish operas out of them. And we at the Folksbiene are now trying to bring them to life. But he also found subjects and picked subjects that audiences would be very much responsive to. For instance, the very first operetta that Goldfaden wrote that played in America, that was brought to America by Boris Tomaszewski, who was a cigarette worker at the time on the Lower East Side, was called the Baba Yachne, the witch, the Koldunya, the Kishif Machin. And we did a version of it last year. We're going to do another version of it this year. But the witch was based on the Eastern European stories, the Baba Yaga stories of the witch, and it has a Cinderella theme. It has a Sleeping Beauty kind of theme in it. But here's a little bird's eye view of the Kishif Machin before I get into other stuff. So the Kishif Machin, the witch, begins at the birthday party of Mirele, who is the heroine. And she's all upset. Her mother has died, and her father is married. Of course, is the evil stiefmama, the evil stepmother, and everyone is at the birthday and celebrating her birthday, singing Zu dein Geburtstag, zu dein Jontefheit, haben sie versammelt, alle deine gute Freit. Everyone has gathered to be at your birthday, all your friends, and we wish you good health and happiness. Alle wünschen dir getreue frei, wird voll Nachricht und frei. Vivat, vivat, wir wünschen dir, vivat, wir wünschen dir gesund, vivat, vivat, wir wünschen dir, vivat, wir wünschen dir gesund, vivat, vivat, vivat. This song actually was adapted in later years in America in the 1900s and all the way up to today as the Yiddish happy birthday song. So when we sing happy birthday to somebody, this is our version of happy birthday to you. Anyway, back to Goldfaden and the Kishif Machin. At the party, they're singing, and the town, amiable town peddler comes in, and they're kind of playing a kind of blind man bluff. I just want to give you a sense of the music. Tra-la-la-la-la-la, spielen, singen, tra-la-la-la-la-la, das macht Mut. Tra-la-la-la-la-la, tanzen, springen, tra-la-la-la-la-la, good, good, good. And they're all in a circle, and they put Hatzmach in blindfolds, and they say, Hatzmach is a blinde. He says, was ist das für ein Blinde? So manche eigene Kinder, sind wir alle da. Jeder Läufer sind der, haben sie uns geschwinde. So manche eigene Kinder, so sind wir alle da. Mirele is sad. She sings of her loneliness without her mother. She sings, von alle Berge weit, alone like one tree on a forest. Auf a Berge ganz klein. Wachs noch Gora jung Memorey in wildem Wald allein. A little young tree is growing in the forest. Der Tate, the dog, no father, can't cover how home without the things. And in the meantime, she figures out a way to take the money back. So Mirla ends up going to the marketplace without any money, unbeknownst to her at the time. At the market, full of vendors, a typical bright, lively scene with all kinds of sellers that they're singing, buy, customers, come here. You won't find another market like this. We're all mevinim, the plural of a maven, to come see all the stuff I have. Here's the song. Like no, wir will im Essen trinken von allen Männern. Kauf was er gelist, how come exist. Kauf was er gelist, how come exist. And the sellers go, fish from Wasser, carp und Schleien, fresh from the water, carp and flounders. The buyers say, nehmen wir davon Mehl und Kleien. No, we don't need it, we need flour and oil. Das kennt ihr noch bei uns gefrieren. The sellers say, you can get that by us. The buyers say, I gerechte muss, und not in sin. Just make sure you give us an accurate count, you don't tip the scales. And the scene continues. Mirla discovers she has no money. She begs the town to help, and she sings, Oy, oy, b'nei Rachmanim, Jews of mercy, people of mercy, Agud Hazzan do by there must be a good heart among you. Hazzan do dayanim. There must be judges amongst you. Paskat mir is das life. Tell me, is this just? Falos lost men gewältigen Dordena. Why do you let an innocent one go by? No fayas soime, kurzlich und keiner, an orphan to boot. Agud Hazzan is dog by eye. And the townspeople sing, that is Do's king, who is this child? Fab plunged in his children, she's lost. As bad hill fab sing, she's asking for help. Fab face as he is, who knows who she is? That is Do's king, Do's honor my kid, this poor child, born was barefoot, At this point, the witch appears, who has been in cahoots with the stepmother, and convinces Mirla to come home with her by telling her some concocted story that Mirla's grandmother and the witch's grandmother were actually first cousins. And she said, Kim, Semir, ich lieb als in der Kim, Kim, Semir, and Mirla sings, ich hab neue Vater, no, I'm afraid of the witch, ich hab neue, she doesn't know that's the witch she's talking to. Ich hab neue Vater, and she's saying, Kim, Semir, you have to imagine two people, it's the witch and the Mirla, trying to get her. She finally abducts her, she takes her to her lair, and all the other witches are there, her sisters-to-be, cooking up the next batch of whatever they're cooking, and it says, Gicha, faster, like a cheetah. Our work goes from our hand. Do it faster, cook it faster. It must be ready today. Let the cauldron cook sometimes 3 by 3 until the Ashmedai, the devil, appears. Grab a person from his house and throw him quickly into the pot. Schneller tut es, kocht es, singt es, Vater muss es werden. Bestimmt Kirchenkäufer rein, Vater muss es werden. Bestimmt Kirchenkäufer rein, Vater muss es werden. Kocht es, Essen rein und rein, bis es kommt der Aschmedai. Hat der Mensch aber zu Gast und warf ihm gleich einen Knecht. Schneller tut es, kocht es, singt es, Vater muss es werden. Bestimmt Kirchenkäufer rein, Vater muss es werden. Bestimmt Kirchenkäufer rein, Vater muss es werden. Which is story ends, this fabulous fantasy ends with the lover, Marcus, travels to Turkey to find her, and finally does find her. At the end, the Baba Yaakov and the stepmother get their just desserts, and the moral of the story is, "Wer es grob da grub verjenem," he who digs a grave for someone else, fällt allein rein. I think Birka Otis has it someplace, right? "Wer es grob da grub verjenem, fällt allein rein, der Moschel jeder kennt, alle Menschen dir getreue ein, wir vom Nach ist so Feind. Vivat mir Menschen dir gesehen, vivat mir Menschen dir gesehen, vivat. That was a little bird's eye picture of that very first Yiddish operetta that Goldfaden created. Goldfaden also created, as I mentioned, a whole opera about Bar Kokhba. It was a huge spectacle about the hero of the last revolt of the Jews against their Roman conquerors. Here's a moment from that show. Listen to it. Und mir werden alle sein frei. Sound familiar? So, well, Handel was in the 17th century, and Goldfaden was later. You can imagine that Goldfaden heard Handel at some point. Another very beloved operetta by Goldfaden was Shalamis.